Hi everyone, I'm Morgan and I'm 32 years old. I work for a construction company doing site inspections. I've been doing this for about 6 years, checking out different projects and making sure everything is up to code. My life has been pretty routine lately. Wake up, work, go back to my parents' house where I've been staying while my own house is being renovated. My house has been a disaster zone for 2 months. Major renovations, the whole 9 yards. When I asked my parents if I could stay with them temporarily, they said yes, but with conditions. I had to pay for all the utilities, buy the groceries, basically cover everything. Whatever, I agreed. I even got them this high-end internet package because I need it for work. It cost me an extra $150 a month, but hey, it's family, right? My sister, Alexis, is 35. She's married to a guy, Aaron, and they have a 5-year-old son named Jack. Alexis works part-time at a marketing firm, always complaining about how tired she is. Aaron is in sales. I guess he makes decent money. Every weekend when Alexis and Aaron want to go out or visit family, guess who gets roped into babysitting? Yep, me. Don't get me wrong, Jack is a sweet kid, but it's like I became the permanent free babysitter the moment I moved back into my parents' house. My mom and dad are both in their 60s. My dad is retired from the post office. He spends most of his time watching TV or tinkering in the garage. My mom worked as a secretary for years before she retired. They live comfortably, not rich but not struggling either. Still, when I moved in, I was suddenly paying for everything. I felt more like a tenant than their daughter. That Tuesday started like any other day. I had my coffee, checked my emails, and headed out to inspect a new office building downtown. The site foreman was supposed to meet me there at 10 sharp. Traffic was lighter than usual, which should have been a good sign. I was actually running early for once. I remember thinking about my house as I was driving. The contractor had sent me pictures of the new kitchen countertops the day before. They looked incredible. I was already planning where I'd put my stuff when I moved back in. Maybe throw a small housewarming party, invite a few friends over. It had been so long since I'd had a place to myself. The radio was playing some old 90s song, and I was humming along, tapping my fingers on the steering wheel. The light at the intersection ahead was green. I pressed the accelerator a little harder, trying to make it through before it changed. That's when everything went black. I don't remember the impact. I don't remember the sound of metal crushing metal or glass shattering. I don't remember the other driver or if they ran the red light. 1 second I was humming along to the radio. The next, there was nothing. When I woke up, everything was white and smelled like disinfectant. My head felt like it was stuffed with cotton, and there was a steady beeping sound nearby. It took me a few seconds to realize I was in a hospital bed. My left side felt strange, numb, but also aching at the same time. I had tubes and wires attached to me. A nurse noticed I was awake and called for the doctor. An older man with graying hair came in, looking at my chart and then at me with a serious expression. "Ms. Patterson, I'm Dr. Williams. You were in a car accident 3 days ago. Do you remember anything?" 3 days. It felt like I'd only closed my eyes a minute ago. "Not really," I said. My voice was raspy and strange. "What happened to me?" "You have several injuries. We've already performed 2 surgeries, one on your spleen and another to repair some internal bleeding. Your left arm has a compound fracture, which we've stabilized, and you have 3 cracked ribs. We'll need to do 1 more surgery on your arm in a few days, but all things considered, you're lucky. The paramedics got to you quickly." Lucky. That was a funny way of putting it. "Did you call my family? Has anyone come to visit?" Dr. Williams looked at his notes. "We called the emergency contact number in your phone. Your mother, well, she seemed more concerned about the disruption to some weekend plans. She said something about having to find other arrangements because of your accident." My stomach dropped, even in my hazy state. That sounded exactly like something my mom would say. "Has anyone else called or visited?" "Your workplace has called several times to check on you. Very concerned colleagues. But no family members have come by yet. I asked for my phone, and the nurse brought it to me. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. I checked my messages, and my heart sank with every swipe. From Mom. "Morgan, because of your accident, our weekend plans are ruined. We were supposed to visit Aunt Marie this weekend, and you were going to watch Jack. Now Alexis has to find a sitter. This is a real inconvenience. From Alexis. Thanks a lot for being such a terrible sister. Now I have to pay some stranger to watch my kid because you couldn't be more careful driving. You've really screwed us over this time. I stared at those messages for a long time. Not one word about how I was feeling, not one question about my injuries or if I was okay, just complaints about how my accident had inconvenienced them. I opened our family group chat, the one where we used to talk about boring stuff like who's bringing what for dinner or birthday reminders. There were 12 new messages, all from the last 3 days. Mom, well, Morgan has really outdone herself this time. Dad, so what are we supposed to do with Jack now? Alexis, I can't believe she wouldn't think about how this would affect all of us. Aaron, maybe she should have been more careful. Mom, we'll have to either cancel the trip or pay for a sitter. Either way, it's going to cost us money. Alexis, she's always been selfish, but this is the last straw. I read all of them twice. Nobody asked how I was. Nobody said they hoped I'd get well soon. They were all just pissed that my near-death experience had messed up their weekend plans. I started to type a message. I'm alive, in case anyone was wondering. But then I deleted it. If they didn't care enough to ask, I wasn't going to tell them. Lying in that hospital bed staring at those awful messages, I started to remember all the other times my family had treated me like dirt. It's funny how when you're stuck somewhere with nothing but time, your brain starts connecting all the dots you've been ignoring. Like last Christmas, I had saved for months to get them all really nice gifts. Dad got that expensive tool set he wanted. Mom got a jewelry set she'd been eyeing at the mall. Alexis got a spa day package. And Jack got this amazing remote control car. When it was time to open presents, they handed me a generic gift card to Target for $25. Alexis got a weekend getaway from Mom and Dad. The spa day I bought her? She complained it wasn't at the fancy place she preferred. Then there was the time I got promoted at work. I was so excited. I called everyone to share the news. Mom's response? That's nice, dear. Can you help Alexis with her mortgage payment this month? She's late again. Not congratulations. Not we're proud of you. Just an immediate ask for money to help my sister who couldn't manage her finances. Speaking of money, that was the pattern. When Alexis's car broke down, guess who they asked to help with repairs? When Dad needed dental work, guess who they called? But when I needed help moving into my house 3 years ago, suddenly everyone was too busy. I hired a moving company and did it myself. The worst part was how they made me feel guilty for everything. When I couldn't watch Jack because of a work commitment, Alexis would go on a rant about how I didn't care about family. When I said I couldn't lend them money because I was saving for my home renovations, Mom would get all quiet and hurt, like I was the one being selfish. But now, lying here with broken ribs and a shattered arm, reading their texts about how my accident had inconvenienced them, it was like seeing everything clearly for the first time. A week went by in that hospital. My coworkers came to visit. Sarah from accounting brought me magazines. Mike from the engineering department brought flowers. Even my boss stopped by to check on me and tell me not to worry about work. These people I saw 8 hours a day cared more about my well-being than my own family. My friends came too. Jenny brought homemade cookies. Mark brought a puzzle to keep me busy. They asked how I was feeling, if I needed anything, when I might get to go home. Normal questions people who care about you ask. You know how many times my parents visited? 0. Not once in 7 days did they show up at the hospital. The only message I got from Mom was on Thursday. Don't forget to transfer the utility money for this month. The electric bill was higher than usual. I almost laughed. I'm lying in a hospital bed after major surgery, and she's worried about the electric bill. I transferred the money anyway because that's what I always did. I always took care of everything. The day before my second surgery, Dr. Williams came in to explain what they needed to do. Something about pins and plates in my arm and how it would take time to heal properly. He was patient, answered all my questions, and explained the risks. A complete stranger was showing me more kindness than my own family. "Do you have someone to help you when you get home?" he asked. "You'll need assistance for the first few weeks." I told him I'd figure it out. I couldn't exactly count on my family for help, not when they were busy being mad at me for getting hit by another car. The surgery went well. When I woke up, my arm was in a huge cast and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. But Dr. Williams said everything looked good and I could go home in about a week. I called the contractor working on my house. He answered right away. "Morgan, I heard about your accident. How are you doing?" Even my contractor cared more than my family. "I'm getting better. How's the house coming along?" "Actually, really good news. We're ahead of schedule. Look, I'm sending you some pictures right now." My phone buzzed, and I saw photos of my finished kitchen, the new hardwood floors in the living room, fresh paint everywhere. It looked incredible, like a real home, not just a house. "When do you think it'll be completely done?" "End of next week, maybe sooner. I know you're eager to get back. We'll have it all cleaned up and ready for you." For the first time since the accident, I felt genuinely happy. I could move straight from the hospital into my own place. I wouldn't have to go back to my parents' house, to their coldness and constant requests for money. 2 days later, I was feeling pretty good. The pain medication was working and I was moving around better. I was actually looking forward to getting out of there when the nurse came in with a strange look on her face. "Your sister is here to see you. She seems upset about something." Before I could say anything, Alexis burst into the room. Her face was red, and she looked like she was about to explode. "I can't believe how selfish you are," she yelled. "I went to get my facelift today, the one I've been planning for months, and they told me at the clinic that our family health insurance has been maxed out because of all your surgeries." I just stared at her. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious. Do you know how much that procedure costs without insurance? $5,000. I can't afford that. And it's all because you had to go and use up all our medical coverage with your accident." "Alexis, I almost died. I had internal bleeding. I needed emergency surgery." "Well, maybe you didn't need all those surgeries. Maybe you could have just had the most important one and dealt with the rest later. But no, you had to be all dramatic and get every little thing fixed." "Get out!" I screamed, as loud as I could with my damaged ribs. "Fine, but I'm telling Mom how rude you're being. You owe me $5,000 for this." She stormed out, and I immediately called the nurse. I had them put my parents and Alexis on the list of people who were not allowed to visit me. I was done. That night, my phone started ringing, Mom's number flashing on the screen over and over. I let it go to voicemail. Then she started texting. "Morgan, Alexis told me what happened. You were incredibly rude to your sister. She's devastated. How could you kick her out when she's going through a difficult time? Call me immediately." I deleted the message without responding. I was so sick of their emotional blackmail and manipulation. My sister was devastated. I was the one with broken bones and surgical scars, but sure, she was the victim here. The next few days passed peacefully. No family drama, just focusing on getting better. Dr. Williams cleared me for discharge on Friday. I was excited but also nervous. My left arm was still in a cast and I couldn't lift anything heavy, but I was ready to be out of that hospital bed. I didn't call my family to come get me. What was the point? Instead, I called Jenny, my best friend from college. Before leaving the hospital, I sent one text to the family group chat. "I'm being discharged today." That was it. No asking for help, no expecting anyone to care. Jenny showed up with flowers and a huge smile. She helped me into her car, careful of my cast. "All right, what's the plan? Straight to your parents?" "Just to pick up my stuff, then straight to my house. The renovation is finished." "Wait, seriously? That's amazing." "Yeah, I can't wait to see it. And Jenny, I'm not staying with my parents again, ever." She squeezed my good hand. "Good for you." When we pulled up to my parents' house, I saw immediately that something was wrong. There were black trash bags scattered across the front lawn, big ones like they were putting out extra garbage. "What is all that?" Jenny asked. I got out of the car and walked toward the nearest bag. It was torn a little, and I could see fabric inside. I pulled it open wider, and my heart sank. My clothes, my books, my personal things. "They have got to be kidding me," I whispered. The front door opened and my entire family came out, Mom, Dad, Alexis, and Aaron. They stood there like some kind of judgment committee. "What is this?" I asked, gesturing to the bags. "Why is my stuff in trash bags on the lawn?" Mom crossed her arms. "We've decided you're costing us too much. The health insurance is maxed out because of your accident, and Alexis can't get her procedure. We think it's best if you find somewhere else to stay." I laughed. I actually let out a full-on belly laugh. "You're kicking me out? While I'm still recovering from surgery?" "You've been nothing but a problem," Alexis chimed in, "and a rude one at that. The way you treated me in the hospital was unacceptable." "The way I treated you? You came to my hospital room and screamed at me for using health insurance to save my life." "It wasn't just about saving your life," Dad said. "You could have been more conservative with the treatments." "Conservative? With an emergency surgery to stop internal bleeding? You people are unbelievable." Mom stepped forward. "We took you in when you needed help. We gave you a place to stay, and this is how you repay us? With ingratitude and selfishness." That word, ingratitude. Like I hadn't been paying all their bills for months. Like I hadn't been their free babysitter every weekend. Like I hadn't been covering their groceries and utilities while recovering from major surgery. "You took me in. I've been paying for everything. Your electric bill, your groceries, your high-end internet. And we provided a roof over your head," Mom retorted. I just stood there, looking at them. My family, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, and all I felt was a cold clarity. They didn't love me. They never had. I was just useful to them. "You know what? You're right. I am ungrateful. I'm ungrateful that I survived that accident so I could see exactly what kind of people you really are." Alexis gasped as if I'd slapped her. "How dare you?" "How dare I what? Tell the truth. You came to my hospital room and yelled at me about a cosmetic procedure while I was recovering from life-saving operations. And you," I turned to my mother, "you couldn't even bother to visit me once. Not one time in 2 weeks." "We were busy," Dad muttered. "Right. Too busy to visit your daughter in the hospital, but not too busy to throw her belongings on the lawn like trash." Jenny had been quietly loading my things into her car. "Morgan, I've got everything. Let's go." I looked at my family one last time. "You know what's funny? I actually thought you cared. All these years, I kept trying to be the good daughter, the helpful sister. I kept thinking that if I just did enough, gave enough, paid for enough things, you would actually love me. But you don't. You never did." "That's not true," Mom said, but her voice sounded unsure. "It is true, and I'm done pretending it's not." I got into Jenny's car, and we drove away. In the rearview mirror, I could see them still standing on the lawn. "Are you okay?" Jenny asked. "Yeah," I said. "I actually think I am." We drove to my house, and when I saw it, I almost cried. It was beautiful. The contractor had done an incredible job. Fresh paint, new windows, everything updated. It looked like a real home. My home. Jenny helped me get settled, made me some soup, and stayed until I felt comfortable being alone. After she left, I sat in my newly finished living room and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. No one asking for money, no one guilt-tripping me into babysitting, no one making me feel like I owed them something just for existing. I picked up my phone, blocked their numbers, and started making some calls. It was time to take back control of my life. The first call I made was to the health insurance company. It felt so good to say those words. "I need to remove some people from my family plan." The representative was helpful and efficient. Within 20 minutes, Mom, Dad, and Alexis were removed from my medical coverage. They'd be getting notification letters in a few days. Next, I called the utility company and canceled the automatic payments I'd been making for my parents' house. Then I called the internet provider. That high-end package I'd been paying for? Canceled. The contract was in my name, so it was easy to terminate. It felt like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. 3 days later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Morgan, it's Mom. Why did we get emails saying we've been removed from your health insurance?" "Because I removed you." But why? We're family. Are we? Because when I was in the hospital fighting for my life, you were more worried about weekend plans. When I needed support, you threw my belongings on the lawn like garbage. Morgan, you're being vindictive. This isn't like you. No, Mom, this is exactly like me. I've just never stood up for myself before. You can't do this to your family. We need that insurance for your father's arthritis, my blood pressure medication. You should have thought of that before you decided I was too expensive to care about. Morgan, please. Oh, and by the way, I'm also canceling your internet and stopping all financial support. No more grocery money. No more utility payments. You kicked me out, remember? You said I cost too much. Well, now I cost you nothing. I hung up and immediately blocked the number. Over the next couple of weeks, I focused on recovery, physical therapy for my arm, rest, and slowly getting back to a normal life. My coworkers were amazing, letting me work from home until I was fully healed. My friends checked in on me regularly. 2 months later, I got the all clear for full activity. My arm was completely healed, and I felt better than I had in years. I had also received a nice settlement from my work's accident insurance, enough for a very nice vacation. I was looking at travel websites, browsing resorts in the Bahamas when my phone rang. Another unknown number. Morgan, it's your mother. I need your help. No. You don't even know what it is yet. I don't care what it is. The answer is no. I need knee surgery. The doctor says it's urgent, but without the good insurance, I can't afford the private clinic. The surgery costs... I almost laughed. Then pay for it yourself. I don't have $50,000. Morgan, this is about my health. Oh, now you care about health? When I was dying in the hospital, you said I was being dramatic and costing too much. You kicked me out for maxing out the health insurance. This is serious, Morgan. I could end up in a wheelchair if I don't get this surgery. Then you should have thought about that before you decided I was too expensive to have around. You literally told me I was costing you too much. You threw me out of the house when I was still in a cast. She started to cry. Please, Morgan, I'm your mother. No, you're not. Mothers don't abandon their children when they're hurt. Mothers don't prioritize their other daughter's facelift over their injured daughter's life. You're just someone I used to be related to. You're being cruel. I'm being exactly as caring as you were when I needed help. Remember what you said? That I was ungrateful and selfish? Well, consider this my gratitude. I hung up and blocked that number too. A month later, I ran into Aunt Marie at the grocery store. She looked uncomfortable when she saw me. Morgan, how are you? I heard about your accident. I'm great, thanks. Fully recovered. That's wonderful. I also heard about the situation with your parents. What situation? Your mother's surgery. She had to have it done at the public hospital instead of the private clinic. It didn't go very well. She needs another operation to fix what went wrong the first time. I felt nothing. Not guilt, not sadness, not satisfaction, just nothing. That's unfortunate. Aunt Marie looked shocked. Morgan, she's your mother. Don't you care? She made it very clear that in our family, affection is conditional. When I needed affection, I got trash bags on the lawn and lectures about costing too much. So no, I don't care. But family is family. You're supposed to be there for each other. They weren't there for me when I almost died. I don't owe them anything. I finished my shopping and left. Aunt Marie probably thought I was heartless, but I didn't care about that either. That weekend, I booked my trip to the Bahamas. First-class tickets, a luxury resort, spa treatments, the whole works. I was going to spend that insurance money on myself for once, instead of supporting people who saw me as nothing more than a bank account. As I sat in my beautiful, renovated house, looking at pictures of tropical beaches on my laptop, I realized something important. For the first time in my adult life, I was truly happy. No one was emotionally blackmailing me. No one was using me or making me feel like I owed them something just for existing. My phone was silent. My bank account was my own. My time was my own. My life, finally, was my own. Some people might say I'm resentful or vengeful, but I think I'm just realistic. I gave that family everything I had for years: my money, my time, my energy, my love. And when I needed them most, they showed me exactly how little I meant to them. I'm not resentful. I'm free. And next week, I'm going to be free on a beach in the Bahamas, sipping cocktails with little umbrellas in them, without a single worry about anyone else's problems.